Hello. A possible dissertation topic that I want to discuss this week is about Operation Mongoose and Operation Northwoods, two operations by the CIA and other government agencies regarding U.S.-Cuban relations roughly from 1959 to 1963. The three articles that I picked cover these operations and what they entailed and what they would mean for the overall look of U.S.-Cuban relations in that era. The first two articles, the first one by Anna Nelson, the second one by Tracy Davis, are very similar in nature in their content and methods. They both cover Operation Northwoods specifically, which was under the auspices of Operation Mongoose. As just a little background, Operation Mongoose, of course, was, like I said, the way of eliminating Castro, and Operation Northwoods was a subset under Mongoose as a way to justify a U.S. invasion or a U.S. official operation militarily against Cuba as a result of eliminating, and as a goal of eliminating Castro's regime. Some of these operations in the two articles by Nelson and Davis that I post in the thread are really similar as far as they outline the exact events and exact plans, and that luckily never left the drawing board that they were thinking of. And these are important because they, as these two articles point out, these are very important. They show not just the overall look of U.S.-Cuban relations during that period, but what this means to U.S. military history in general, and as far as since then, and what these agencies are actually also capable of. It's very interesting. Both of them come to kind of the similar conclusions. These operations are purely meant for a justification for Cuba militarily, something that the U.S. public would get behind if there was a big enough tragedy by unofficially, but officially by Cuba, but not really by Cuba. So both these articles really do a really good job at outlining those. The third one that I picked by Stephen Rabe, solely focuses on, it's a different perspective. It doesn't focus on just one operation. It focuses on more of post-Cuban Missile Crisis. Most scholars, including these other articles that I mentioned, focus on between the Bay of Pigs and the Cuban Missile Crisis and U.S.-Cuban relations between those times. Not as much has been focused on post-Cuban Missile Crisis to the end of Kennedy's life. So that 1 year from about November 62 to November 63, not much has been said about that. So the third one really focuses in and hones in on that era, as far as the Cubanette-style groups that are still trying to start an invasion and make it look as if the U.S. wants to get into something. But formally or officially, JFK and Khrushchev were on better terms at this point during that year. That's kind of the content of these. The methods used by Rabe are similar in nature to the other two. However, he does come to different conclusions because he's focusing on that separate year, and he comes to conclusions that the Cold War was drying out just a little bit, warming up just a little bit in a good way as far as ease of tensions. But of course, other proxy wars to come after his life would change that. But they all come in different ways. They all share different information, but they all show a larger picture, and I think this is what they all conclude and agree upon. They all show a larger picture of U.S.-Cuban relations in that time. Something that's very interesting and something I think is very important.